Allow all attendees to hear you. This system will notify you once you begin your broadcast.
Hey everybody, Jake Beckman here from RebelMouse. Going to give everyone just a few more minutes to join, and then we'll get going. In the meantime, I've got stuff I can talk about, but I'd love to really open this up and just take your questions. So if you want to tweet them at me, I'm at Jake Beckman. You can use the hashtag RebelWebinar. Fire away. You can also ask questions through this GoToWebinar platform if you can figure that out, or you can just tweet them. So I'll give everyone a couple minutes. Please, send questions my way, and we can get going. Okay, so let's get started. Thank you all very much for joining. Again, I'm Jake Beckman, content catalyst here at RebelMouse. I work with newsrooms and publishers, journalists, editors to use RebelMouse, implement embeds on their sites, on our site as well, and basically do innovative, fun social reporting, journalism, publishing. So that's kind of my focus here at RebelMouse. And if you want to ask questions about how to, best practices for UGC, how to moderate content that's coming in, how to set up different types of content sources. Just the other day, we announced that we have launched our Facebook search and hashtag integration. And Facebook hashtag search keyword across the open graph. We can now pull those in, publish them right to RebelMouse, and you can pull them into either your drafts or you publish them on your front page. So the first thing I want to show everyone is a website that we've been working on. No, hang on. Having a couple of audio issues here, so just hang tight, guys. 1 second. Yeah. Are you using your mics and speakers to your computer? Or are you using your phone? I'm using my mic. I'll call it. All right, I'm gonna dial into the line here. So just stand by 1 second. So,
I have it. There's one. I'll send it to you.
okay. Okay, so while we're working on this, I hope you can hear me. I'd rather keep going while I'm dialing in. Some people are asking about analytics, and we offer really nice back-end analytics through the dashboard. Send me to. Oh, thanks. All right, I'm going to call in here. Hang on one second.
I G-chatted it. Do you want to use this?
Ooh. Let's get out of here. Okay, so let's try this again, and hopefully this will work for everyone. So, all right, so the first person was asking about analytics on the back end. And if you go to the dashboard on your site, you'll be able to see a wide swath of engagement and viral analytics here. You're going to click on the stats tab in your dashboard. And while that loads, you'll notice that you're able to generate statistics from RebelMouse and also plug in your other analytics trackers, your Google Analytics, your Omnitures, things like that. I'm having all sorts of technical difficulties, so I apologize for that, guys. All right, so here's our analytics dashboard, and you'll see that it shows a number of things. Engagements across a span of days that's customizable by the user, 30 days, or even down to the last hour, 6 hours, 12 hours. We break down engagements in a number of ways. The views are the total number of cards or modules that users have viewed. Also, we break down into people who mouse over the modules as they actively read, people who click on the links, people who like or repost it on our platform, and also out to Facebook as well and Twitter. But what you're actually able to do with our stats packages is go down into module by module which piece of content is really working best for you. So you're able to see who is clicking over each link, who's engaging totally, where the traffic is coming from. If it's traffic that you're generating yourself, either from your domain or your Twitter handle, or that we're generating through RebelMouse, or if it's coming in through social, you're able to see a viral percentage, what's doing really well. I like the band Fish, I did this post, did really well, it's coming in nicely over the last 30 days. You can expand this and go further back as well into a custom range. And let's say I wanted to go back into, let's say November and start here. Not a great day for me. But if I wanted to go into December the 31st, I'm able to see that my engagement over that time period peaked on this day here. You'll mouse over and you'll see that I got 13,000 engagements. What happened? Well, I probably made a post that I put on Twitter, did really well. People came back to the site. So I can then go down here and drill down and see this post that I did, this little post about the band Fish, did a whopping 7,000 plus post views with a 99% viral. That was all incoming. Engagements, almost 15,000, and I really didn't do much to promote this. So what did I do? I published an original blog post, a list post on RebelMouse. It kind of looks like those lists you see on BuzzFeed, but it's done with RebelMouse. And I did it with GIFs, but you could do it with tweets or anything you want on here. And I tweeted this out and sent it to targeted influencers, blogs that had big followings, and got them to tweet out the link. As you're able to source other Twitter accounts for the content of these lists, they are then notified through our system that their content is part of this list and thus are more likely to share the link out to their following and extend the reach of the post. So let's say I'm really interested in mouse overs, people who aren't clicking but are somehow otherwise engaging with the content. I'm able to sort by that and say that actually my top mouse over post was not that post. It was this post of Zach Braff photobombing a couple in Times Square from a couple of months ago. So you're able to see how your engagements differ between clicks and mouse overs. While that stays the same, this one here got a ton of mouse overs, this Instagram post, but very low clicks, only 7 clicks. So you're able to really deeply figure out how your audience is engaging with the content and then figure out how to send content that's more relevant at a better time. So the other thing that RebelMouse launched recently is the back end for a new site called the Dodo. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of this. Really, really cool. It's a bunch of the most high-level animal punditry you'll find on the web. It's really cute and it's really serious. So do dogs need winter jackets? Walking around New York City, I see this all the time. So it's a great looking site, looks really nice. This is all entirely powered by RebelMouse. In the V2 that we're set to launch, you're going to be able to create dynamic layouts like this that load up with awesome GIFs and images, really, really splashy, that play in line up the top here. And also a fully featured publishing suite with article view pages to go with it. The real crux of this project for us is figuring out how do you make the project more social in the publishing process. How do you bring your readers into it more and more? As more content comes out on social media first, how do you streamline the flow between social media and your CMS? We believe at RebelMouse that we have found a solution here, and it's called the community. Any visitor to the Dodo can instantly become a user who can write and submit to the editors for approval content for the site. All I have to do is authenticate in with any of my social credentials or with my email. I'm already a member. I can log in here. It goes to Twitter. Bam, easy as that. Now I am a contributor for your site. So let's say I'm passionate about something, a community idea, and I want to add a post. I'm able to submit them directly to the editors through here with nothing more than my Twitter login. The editors can in turn take it, mishmash it, edit it, post it as is, or pass on it. It's totally up to them. It expands the content pool and allows publishers to increase inventory for ad impressions and cull their readership for engaging and lively stories that they don't have to pay a premium on. And you'll see when I go to the Dodo, there's a whole separate section where we can segment out these posts that have been approved from the community. The other opportunity here is to bring in guest bloggers directly into your CMS more easily than them typing up a Word document, forwarding it to you, or you giving them the login to your CMS, which they may not understand. All they need is to log in with their Twitter, and bam, they can submit directly to your editors. So we're really excited about what this means for the future of community publishing. And any questions about community publishing, I'm happy to take. And I'll pause for questions here. So great question. Someone asked, where can they find submitted posts by users of the Dodo? So I am not on the Dodo staff, but if I were, I would have access to basically a drafts tab like we have on RebelMouse, where all the pending content is set for approval. Also, any content that users may have seen on Twitter and tagged with hashtag the dodo would also show up there. It's really as simple as just tweeting with the hashtag. I saw something cool and animal related, tweet with the hashtag, bam, they put it on the site. It's really, really cool and interactive with your readers. So I really want to structure this like a Q&A. So if anyone has any questions, please, I'm waiting for you guys. So fire away, please. Sure. Someone asked me to dive deeper into the stats dashboard. Totally can do that. So the things that we're able to track here are first of all your standard views and impressions, first view, front page views, and any sub page views as well. If you run RebelMouse in a module as an ad unit, you can also view how that unit's performing alone, set aside from the rest of the hub embed. We also show the traffic sources again, internal and external, from viral and seed. The reposts and likes are both native on Facebook and Twitter and on our platform, so you can check how people are engaging both on your embed and also how it's performing out of network as well. So I'd love to show you a couple of recent implementations of stuff we've done, sponsored content, show you how we are moving the ball there. So we worked recently with Shape Magazine, who was doing a sponsored campaign with Sargento, asking their readers how they were going to rock their resolution, their New Year's resolution. They took RebelMouse and embedded us on the page. And they sponsored, obviously, the entire experience by Sargento, who doesn't want a nice piece of string cheese. They were also able to, within RebelMouse, take one of the modules and add a sponsored tag. This was a module that included content from Sargento and is treated as a sponsored module. Any of these designs are totally customizable in terms of the treatment of the sponsored modules. This is something that we are able to take any tweet and turn it into an ad unit, any piece of social content, any GIF, any YouTube. It's really, really cool. We think we're poised to bridge the gap between how people do social and native advertising in an innovative way that drives return for publishers. Someone asked about the most interesting ways I've seen publishers using RebelMouse. I think for me, the most interesting way was a project we did with Al Jazeera America about, it was when the U.S. was on the brink of action with Syria. They chimed in and asked their readers to weigh in about whether or not we should or should not engage with Syria. And they wanted to invite people to contribute on all of these networks here and also share out to them. They embedded a Google form where people could submit longer paragraph length responses to give really a forum for more thoughtful debate. And what we did was we took two RebelMouse subpages. One was hashtag for, and one was against. And their edit staff basically went through the social responses and the responses from the Google forms and tagged them to one of the subpages. We embedded them side by side and put a nice header on top. So everything on the left is from the one subpage and everything on the right is from the other. And the experience as the user scrolls is really a way of doing social debate that I hadn't yet seen before coming to RebelMouse. A way that wasn't just a mishmash of UGC or a long stream, but actually presented it spatially and visually for the user is really, really cool. And I think that the implications for doing side-by-side embeds are really, really far-reaching. It allows RebelMouse to become one of a number or multiple instances on a specific page where you can have one feed that's a two-column hub or another feed that's just a single horizontal unit like a gallery embedded on the left. And there are all kinds of ways to think outside of the box. And so that's what I love doing here at RebelMouse and figuring out how we can kind of turn things upside down. So that for me is the most interesting implementation. Not your traditional hub, but something that I think really was engaging as well. So somebody asked about how sites are able to hide the site banners, let your content roar with sign-in buttons. So there is a couple of elements of RebelMouse branding that when you run RebelMouse on the free consumer version persist when a user is logged out on rebelmouse.com. Now, I will say that if you take that page and embed it on your own server, those let your content roar things on the top go away, as do the featured and following modules. Those are only when looking on rebelmouse.com. So if you want to try to drop the embed script into your own website, you can go for it, and that should help reduce the branding there. The other option is we do offer a mid-tier Rebel Prime Time. It's priced $500 per site per month. More design customization, more white labeling, increased analytics, things like that. I'd be happy to talk to you about it if you want to email me about it. So somebody asked about WordPress, which is a great question. A lot of content creators these days, most of the internet, I'd say, are on WordPress. So if you're looking in terms of a WordPress output, I'd say the best thing to do is go ahead and set up an RSS feed. A lot of people don't realize that any page with an RSS feed can be outputted to RebelMouse. You can drop permalinks from your individual posts into the add a post box if you're looking for something a little bit more curated than that. You can always send the feed to drafts and just publish the ones that you want and leave the rest. That's what I do with my tweets. I tweet a lot. I don't want everything going on my front page on my personal RebelMouse. So I send them all to drafts. You can do the same thing with an RSS feed. I should also mention that we are a WordPress VIP plugin if you go in the WordPress store. Also, if you run your site on Wix, I actually just saw a commercial for Wix, which I thought was really cool. We have an app as well. You can embed our widgets right on your Wix really easily. But again, all you need to do is drop the JS code in the WordPress for input, And in terms of output, I'd say an RSS feed or the permalinks are the best way to go. So somebody asked a question about brands, which is a great question. And I'm actually on the content team, so I don't work with the brand side. I will say that I'm really, really excited by how brands have come to embrace the community aspect of social advertising. And I think there's been strong recognition that RebelMouse is a great way to help implement those aims really, really simply. Um, I don't know if any of you guys have seen the T-Mobile breakup letter campaign. They're encouraging their carriers to break up with their customers to break up with their carriers um, and to join T-Mobile. So this is a page that they did on RebelMouse, the T-Mobile breakup letter, and we just thought that this was so cool. The first thing was their thing is pink, obviously, and their hashtags, we made them pink, but everything else was black. We included this really nice header and call to action here for them, and then had a great just a UGC RebelMouse hub where we're pulling in everyone who tweets or Instagrams with hashtag breakup letter. I think the aesthetic is great. I think the tone of the campaign is right on and really good for social. And I think that RebelMouse is the best way to collect that content and easily help the brands and agencies publish it to either a site on RebelMouse or one that's hosted on domain. Um, Another one that comes to mind that's hosted on domain was when Burger King came out with those better for you French fries. They launched an Instagram campaign. The fries were called Satis Fries. The hashtag was hashtag Satisfied. So they embedded RebelMouse on BK.com, where they had the Satisfied Instagram campaign coming in. It's fully skinned. It looks really nice. Again, it's just a fun way for brands to get it on the fun. I think the key for brands is coming up with the right campaign. You need to figure out how you're going to drive engagement and drive content. But once you have the pictures flowing in and the content flowing in, I think that RebelMouse is clearly a platform that's built to handle stuff like this. Someone asked also, same question, follow up. What do I wish brands would do in RebelMouse? And I wish they would use this all the time, and I wish they would, um, really shift to putting the voice in the consumer's hands, because I think the power of social advertising is kind of flipping the megaphone on its side. And we were written up really nicely in the Wall Street Journal a couple of weeks ago, and they called us a web megaphone, which I really like because I think that we have the ability to turn up the volume for not just you guys, but for your readers. And in terms of the brands, their users are given a voice with RebelMouse, and I'd love to see them build community hubs that are pulling in content or opening it up to their users to post testimonials. I think there's a lot of room for growth there. This is a great question. How do I think RebelMouse is enhancing traditional storytelling? I think that RebelMouse is it's really helpful to think of RebelMouse like a platform as opposed to a social network. And I think that thinking about it through that frame really helps make uh, the power of RebelMouse more apparent. So I think that as I go to my front page here, excuse me. I think that RebelMouse, so being a platform as opposed to a social network, I think that it's a really powerful idea to plug RebelMouse into a story page or plug a RebelMouse widget into a high traffic area like a home page or a section landing page, because you're able to bounce traffic to a hub where stories can be told in greater detail. But aside from the hubs, I think there are things that you can do with the content that make it so placeable anywhere. First of all these modules are embeddable individually, so you can have a page pulling in all of your pictures across social networks, your Pinterest and G Plus and Facebook and Instagram, and then you have one dashboard where you can take it and grab the embed code and drop it. It embeds as RebelMouse and clicks back through the hub. It's really, really nice. And I think that as storytelling becomes increasingly visual, the power to have an adaptive embeddable module is huge. You see so many stories with embedded tweets or Instagrams. A lot of CMSs don't know how to deal with that. Either the JavaScript isn't strong enough, or they need to come up with some workaround, like take a screenshot or something. We think that you can fully skin these modules, make them look just like your type kit, your fonts, anything you want, and then you can take RebelMouse and plug it in the middle of a story. And I think so for like things like weather stories really stand to be augmented with the visual social angle of RebelMouse. I think stories like what's happening in the Ukraine can have a big impact. You know, instead of bird's eye view pictures, RebelMouse provides publishers an avenue to take social content and turn it into copy, and turn that in turn into clicks. And I think that that's a really powerful concept. So a question about how newsrooms should utilize RebelMouse in breaking news, and I think that that's a great, great, great question. So one of the things about RebelMouse is how easy it is to launch a new site. You'll see that I am an administrator on a lot of sites here. If I want to launch a new one, I click launch site here. And let's say I'm doing Rebel webinar site and I want to load it. It's a breaking news scenario. I want to launch a new site immediately. I don't need to go through time setting up a new page with all the skinning. I can just copy what I already have, click launch, and I have a brand new template ready to go. I can add content, put up a first post, go to my content sources. I'm all ready to just plug it in from Twitter. All of my tokens have already transferred over. There's no need to log in again. And then when I'm ready, you know, when the site's up, I jump here to the embed and grab the code and place it. We'd really like to power subdomains for this. We think that having an indexable bake-in for RebelMouse is really great. We'd love to talk about it. So, you know, send us an email, Jake@RebelMouse. Send me a tweet. So someone says that RebelMouse embeds very well into forum software like PHP, Bulletin Board. And they use this as a news ticker, and that's really, really cool. If you've never used any of our smaller sidebar embeds, like the widgets, they're really cool. They power basically any kind of social media list. Hello Giggles is a great one. They have us on their homepage. They have their contributors' picks sending through here. It's skinned just like their site. This is all powered by RebelMouse. And when you click through, they have a social activity page. The hub is, you know, their gifts, their Snapchats, their whatever. It's Zoe Deschanel's brand that explains the quirky attitude, and so this is a way to pair a RebelMouse widget with a hub page. I was talking about placing it on home pages or landing pages. We think there's a huge opportunity where content on the right rail ends, where maybe you need to have advertising or nav up on the top. We think that keep scrolling. And if you've got stories in your left rail, what's a really nice example of this? I think I'll show, I think Business Insider. We love Business Insider, but let's see Business Insider's homepage. So Business Insider, first of all, shows a ton of stories here, and they have nav that's persistent, but you'll see, and I'll make this full page so you guys can see it easier here, that look at my scroll bar. I'm pretty high up on the page. and the right rail ends, and there's all this space, and look at all the content here. There are a ton of stories with the right rail not being utilized at all. It's we hate that, and we'd love to see publishers filling white space with flexible embeds that show the latest social content. We want to have readers be presented with real time content right alongside the back archives on the front page. So whether it's one post, two posts, or an infinite scroll through all the content, we think RebelMouse is a really engaging plug for white space. If you need to keep a right rail to show advertising, and again, to generate the sidebar code, it's right in the embed tab of your dashboard. You just change the type from full page to sidebar. So I encourage you to check it out. We also have some posts on our blogs about it if you're interested in learning more, or you can just email me. So this is a great question. Does RebelMouse inherently cater to large audiences? Do news organizations need large viewership to totally utilize RebelMouse? I think that's a really, really great question. I think inherently any platform can be utilized most effectively at scale. And I think that RebelMouse is a company that is dreaming big and sees an industry where social content is a natural complement to the stories that break on a constant basis every day. And I think that having more people, I mean, I'm a former journalist. I remember the days of CNN, I Report, and things like that. The idea that your audience can help you news gather is a powerful idea for me. I worked on an assignment desk at two networks, national news networks, for about 5 years, and I never went a day. No, I never went more than 90 seconds, I'd say, without an eye on TweetDeck, because even then, 2, 3 years ago, the way that I gathered news about weather stories for Good Morning America, or the way that I gathered news about London trading early in the morning for Bloomberg, was on Twitter. And if I had a tool that could easily take that content and put it in story copy that my web editors could work with, I mean, that to me is how I see RebelMouse working. In terms of a large audience, the more people you have contributing, the better it works. However, I do think that there is a large opportunity for smaller publishers to use RebelMouse as a step up. And what I mean by that is we think we've created a content platform that can help increase viral lift. We have a couple of engagement features that really, really do this. They're really actually pretty simple. The first one is called Twitter Shoutouts. So what are Twitter Shoutouts? Twitter Shoutouts are when I add someone's content to my page, I get a notification. I'm able to generate a notification to them about thanking them for their contribution and sending them a link to the page. So I can just go up here and click on the Shoutouts tab up here. It brings me to the Sharing tab on my dashboard. And I can turn on Rebel Shoutouts here, and we like to do a custom at reply. So I can add a couple of pieces of content here. Thanks for the photo. It's now live on RebelMouse's blog, crediting you, and then a link here. Now I can add a couple, and we'll randomize them as well. So I can add a new option. Great tweet. Thanks for sharing. It's now here. Obviously you can come up with the copy that you want. You can customize the limits for the Twitter shoutouts. We optimize them. We only send to one per day and optimize when we do it. So you can rely on our system there, or you can send them to a customized limits with customized links. Up to you. So the way that this feature works is that when you retweet or favorite or publish from drafts someone's content, they can either get a direct message or a public at reply letting them know. And when it's a public at reply, the general intent is to retweeted, or at the very least favorite it. Drive engagement is the key word here. So the way that you're able to pair it is we can send feeds to drafts, hashtags to drafts, and in drafts, I'm able to see a couple of things. On the free version, I'm able to see how many followers the user has. So I can target content from people with a lot of followers who, if they get a shout out and say it's live here, they might retweet the link to their audience. On the premium analytics, we provide per module stats about how the content is performing on its native network. If it's a Facebook post, how many likes and shares. If it's a Twitter tweet, I guess, how many favorites and retweets. And you're able to take that into account as you're publishing. We think that social publishing has huge opportunity to be data driven, and we're proud to be on the forefront of offering publishers the options to publish efficiently from the community. Well, I'm about out of questions. So does anyone have any more, or we'll wrap up? I'll give everyone a couple of minutes here. Okay, so great question. Somebody asked for advice on someone trying to sell their newsroom on RebelMouse. The print digital divide is still very major in some places. I think that that's a great question. I think that we found that the best way to drive demand for RebelMouse is to get it in the editor's hands. We're happy to come by and meet with your digital people. We think that obviously if the dollars are behind print, you're going to have a little bit of an issue there. But we think that we provide a compelling opportunity for the digital side that not only helps the edit staff, it also helps the ad sales staff as well. We think we're able to offer an enterprise SaaS solution for social publishing that allows publishers to take us and embed us anywhere they want, turn any piece of content into an ad unit that they could sell at scale rate. We think that there's a huge CPM opportunity there, where we think publishers can approach advertisers with proposals for a real premium on CPM, because they're able to offer a rich media ad unit, and that means that any tweet, any YouTube, any GIF, any Facebook post, you name it, can be an ad unit, or you can just create a blog post and turn it into a sponsored unit. So I think really, once the ad sales side starts to understand the implications, both for the edit side, who are clamoring for more options to make their lives easier, taking social and putting it on their websites, the real aha moment is figuring out that this is a product that can be sold to advertisers as a premium CPM option. Cool. So I'm just going to hang out for a couple more minutes if anyone has any more questions. Thanks for joining. Jake Beckman, jake@rebelmouse.com. Follow me on Twitter @Jake Beckman. The drill. I also have a RebelMouse too. I'm @/Jake Beckman. So come reach out. I'm going to hang out here. If you have any more questions, you can tweet them or send them in here. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it, guys. So somebody asked if there's a limit to the type of platforms that you can share on RebelMouse. We think that there is no limit at the moment. I mean, we don't we think that there are the normal social networks you think of. We've integrated with LinkedIn. When you follow a company, you can publish their public posts to your RebelMouse. We've integrated with StockTwits, so your StockTwits feed can turn into RebelMouse modules as well. And again, any page with an RSS output, Tumblr as well. I mean, we think that if there's an opportunity to integrate more content into RebelMouse, if you have one that you want and you don't have it, and they have an open API, we're a company that iterates really, really quickly, and we're super excited to expand what you can do. And if there's something that would be helpful, a different social network that we're not thinking of, let us know. I do think the RSS output saves a lot of the friction. And I do think that our new Facebook search functionalities, which I really encourage you all to try, it's baked into your dashboard now. You'll see it there on content sources. Is really, really cool. Set up a test sub page and hide it and send all your stuff to the sub page from Facebook. It's very cool to see it come in. Does anyone have any, issues with RebelMouse? Like, stuff that, you're troubleshooting, that, you need support on, any kinds of, nitty gritty questions. I'm here to answer your questions. So, um, let her rip. All right. Well, listen. If you guys have any more questions, Jake at RebelMouse, tweet at me at Jake Beckman or at RebelMouse. And thank you guys very much for joining. I appreciate your time. Any questions to the RebelMouse, just let me know.